Ways to become a vet. The standard way to obtain a veterinarian license is obvious: top grades in undergrad and great recommendations, lots of studying at the graduate level, and successful board exams. Of course, after all that, you have just entry-level veterinarian. You have probably learned the newest knowledge of the profession, most likely saw the practical performance of necessary procedures performed by great professors, but you still need some real practice at the clinic in order to become a practitioner. But this is a simple way to become a veterinarian in the US if you start your journey here. New York is not a regular American city. Numerous immigrants start their new life here were getting diplomas elsewhere. They just needed to confirm that they were really ready to do the job. In general, it means an evaluation of their papers. By the word just is only theoretical. In fact, in most cases, it is the hardest thing a person has to do if they want to become an American veterinarian. The specificity of our clinic include a significant flow of recent immigrants who came here from all over the world and dreams of becoming licensed veterinarians. This dream is rather obvious. In some places, a veterinarian might be just a little bit more respected than a regular agricultural worker, something between a peasant and the intellectual. But not in America. Here, a veterinarian is a very respectable person. He or she falls into the same rank as lawyers and medical doctors. Actually, why not? If a doctor who take care of your kids' health and your parent longevity, or you deserving your full respect, why wouldn't a doctor who take care of your four-legged family members wouldn't be considered as important? Why wouldn't they deserve a respectable income and, of course, your trust? As foreign professionals embark on the path of US vet license, in the process of getting together their papers, their language skills, and their test scores, they try to become involved in the veterinarian profession in some capacity. Thus, many foreign veterinarians with dreams of becoming US certified apply for the jobs in vet clinics. They're ready to work for less money than they could make somewhere else, to take any position, all for the chance to seek a real American veterinarian practice from inside, a chance to communicate with more experienced colleagues, to be close to animals. By the way, the same is true for the young people deciding whether or not attend vet schools. Who knows whether or not this profession is right for you? It's better to find out the answer before wasting years and several $100,000 grants to discover that it's not yours. Our chief vet came here at the age of 47 with lots of personal problems in the way of health and family obligations, and his journey on this difficult road, and unless it's successful or finale. Maybe because of it, or just because he is a kind person, he has always supported those who wanted to follow in his footsteps. Based on my experience, this is not the case for so many other vets who see every newcomer as potential competitor. This whole spectrum of human characteristics can be seen among those who came to the United States with dreams of establishing a veterinarian practice. After spending a couple of weeks in the clinic, I have seen several decide that for them it's not an impossible road. There was a Fyodor, a regular farm vet from Moldova. He was about 40 with a very chubby English, and the wife in Moldova who was waiting for her husband to become a vet before making a journey to the US. It took him less than 2 months to convince himself that it would be impossible for him to achieve the dream with such a poor background. Nobody could even understand how he could practice veterinary medicine back in Moldovan village. His only useful skill was the ability to keep large and hyped dogs at bay while the doctor examined them. Another interesting character was Joseph. He came to us after a Ukrainian woman asked me if we had a vet technician position for her husband. According to her, he was a graduate from Kiev Veterinarian Academy, who was recently joined her in America. I said yes, and she promised he would be at the clinic the following morning. The next day, black young man came to the clinic and asked to see me. As soon as I saw black man, I spoke to him in English, but he did not understand me. He replied in Ukrainian, "I'm Joseph, I'm veterinarian. My wife told me that I could apply for that position here and stay until I pass my board exams. It's okay for us Ukrainian-speaking employees is acceptable, but I was unprepared to meet a black man in Brooklyn who does not speak English, but speaks fluent Ukrainian and French. Joseph is originally from Mali, a French-speaking country. While in a visit to Kiev, he married a Ukrainian woman and learned fluent Ukrainian. The doctor usually needs some time to assess the skill set of any new tech, but the morning before Joseph came, he had performed emergency surgery and was rather tired. So in order to keep Joseph busy, doctor asked him to watch a cat on IV fluids. For anyone even mimically familiar with the practice, watching the animal on IV fluid therapy entails checking if the tubes are in correct position once in a while and troubleshoot the machine which pumps the fluid in case it beeps. Joseph, eager to demonstrate what a good candidate he was, positioned himself directly in front of the cat's cage and stared at the cat without so much moving. Even when he was cold, his eyes remained fixated on the cat. Unfortunately, the skull Joseph had very veterinarian school aside from diploma from Ukrainian Veterinarian Academy. Now, anywhere anyone is asked to watch a dog or cat can help thinking of those stupid eyes fixated on animal without pause. Another case we've quickly realized would never make it in the veterinarian world was Vlad. He was 40-something who had graduated from rather a renowned vet school in Russia. He claimed that his goal was to get a vet license as soon as possible, and he asked us for a volunteer position in order to refresh his skills. We agreed. He attended our clinic for a couple of weeks in this matter. He did not perform any real work, he was just present while our employee performed their duties. He watched everything with a very clever look. Soon there was opening for a full-time vet technician, and we needed to find somebody very quickly. When we proposed him to join our team, Vlad was happy. I asked Vlad whether he knew how to do an X-ray. He said, "Yes, for sure," he said. "Blood work?" "Yes, of course." "Can you put an IV catheter?" "Yes, I can." Okay, to start, Vlad partnered with an experienced technician who showed him how to do each simple task numerous times. "Did you get it?" "Yes, I'm a veterinarian, and this is a simple procedure," Vlad would say. After 2 weeks of training, the doctor started giving him easy tasks, and Vlad wasted a lot of experience materials, but not a single thing he did was useful to us. He could not even remember where we stored our tools or medicine. I spoke with him privately, and finally Vlad confessed that he had a memory condition and did not allow him to store any new information. In order to pass the exam, an applicant from the foreign country would have to learn many new things and skills. This is not an easy even for someone without a memory condition. So the one useful result of Vlad's experience with us was his discovery that this path was closed for him. As another of our villagers also came to the clinic as a volunteer, and just thinking about his feels fills me with regret. And this time he had been working somewhere as a driver, and asked us if he could help out the clinic because he couldn't imagine being outside of his field any longer. After several weeks of active volunteering, we had an opening for the beta position. He took it just to be on the team. Then a couple of months later, he was raised to the level of vet assistant, and he progressed really well. His weak point was English, but his skill and understanding of what's going on were the doctor level for sure. But his career with us was ended abruptly after we discovered that he was illegally practicing veterinary medicine on the side and using tools and medicine he had stolen from our clinic. We found out about it through some immigrants trying to save money who used his services and paid him a fraction of a regular price. It was a shock for everybody. I understand he was in a hurry to get additional income for his family, but such thing could be pardoned. Later I saw him working as a taxi driver. He lost his bright fortune for today's penny. Masha, a vet from Ukraine, come to in New York as tourist. He visits some veterinarian clinic in order to see how the profession works here, and she found it so attractive that she decided to reside here permanently. Her path was not easy. Not only was it difficult for her to obtain legal status, but she also had a teenage son whose only talent was ability to chug a glass of vodka in one sip. At some point, after a few years of fighting with her legal status and hard work as a grooming salon, she applied for a vet technician position with us. There was no better help if the doctor needed to restrain an unruly giant dog. This lady could press any Goliath to the floor so hard that there was no way for him to move while the doctor checked his ears or prostate. Masha was good in many other ways, but her strong belief in extrasensory treatment was unprecedented in a real veterinarian. I didn't know how it happened, but after years of studying science, she still believed in the ability to choose the blood vessel with the power of her aura. In all seriousness, she claimed that she could improve in animal health just by her extrasensorial impulses to break up stones in the urinary tract with her wave of her hands. In a while, she left our office and established her own animal divination of reading business, and she made some money on pet lovers with some type of psyche. But when there was a real veterinarian problem, she sent her clients to us. The stories above describe unsuccessful efforts to become a vet in the US. Fortunately, there has been many more stories with ambitious ending. Among them, there were men and women, fresh graduate and professionals with several years of experience in their domestic practice of veterinary medicine, and immigrants of various nationalities. Some came to us already having a green card, and some had less fortunate circumstances and find their legal way for their legal status. With slightly differences, they all had something in common. What they all shared was a strong desire to be a vet, not just for income, but because of their personalities. Not one of them had sufficient knowledge and skill when they arrived, but hard work and strong will made their dreams come true. This might sound trivial, but it's so true. These hard workers learn a lot from the terms of manual techniques and skills while working here as technicians, and I have to say that their luck was to find the mentorship of our chief doctor, who passed through his same hurdles while being in their shoes. It was his turn to help the followers.